welcome back to my channel. So I'm doing this 75-day hard challenge. This is a little bit off topic and this is totally not what the video is about. And I was on my way outside for a walk and I looked at this plant that I had. Now, I got this plant, I'll show you in a little bit here. I got this plant as a gift from my realtor when I bought my house 3.5 years ago. And I'm notorious of killing plants. I'm a terrible plant mom. If you know, you know. If you understand and you're in the same boat as me, you get it. People are like, oh, succulents are so easy to keep alive. Oh, blah, 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 blah. I either water them too much or not enough, and I usually kill them. They end up in smithereens and they just wither and die. So this is a little bit embarrassing, but I'm gonna show you my little plant here. His name is Willie. This is Willie for ya. Poor little bastard. So this entire pot was filled with plants. And I'm gonna get to my point here in a second. There were succulents everywhere, and this guy was probably about this size. This little thing was just sprouted out beautifully. Now, since I'm terrible at taking care of plants, this is what it looks like. He was dying for sunlight. He's like, somebody water me, I'm dehydrated. So yeah, Willie has been hanging on by a thread here. Now, in the wintertime, this plant does terrible. He looks pretty sad. He does good for the first month or two of the wintertime, and then towards the end of winter, he's like, oh my god, if you don't give me sunlight, I'm gonna wither into smithereens and no longer be alive. So my point of this whole plant explanation is when I walked outside of the door, I thought about growth, and I thought about your environment, and what environment you're in. You're either gonna flourish or you're not. And on my walk, I was thinking about all these different things. So there are a few points I want to make in this video, and I just solely want to speak from the heart. I don't have any notes. I just wanted to do kind of like an organic video here. Growth can come in the form of a lot of different things, because there are quite a few of us in the Midwest that struggle with seasonal depression. And a lot of times it's because we set our clocks backwards. It gets dark, there's hardly any daylight. When you go to work, it's dark. When you get home, it's dark. And people really, they fall into this really low mood pattern and this kind of isolation period. There's really not a lot that you can do because it's dark outside and it's winter and it's cold. And if you're from Minnesota like myself, it's very hard on people who are creative, people who struggle with their mental health. It's like struggling with depression and throwing that on top of it, and it's really hard. And I thought a lot about myself. And I was like, and this is something that's been on my mind for the last few months, is how is my environment holding me back? How is my environment keeping me from growing? I recently went to Texas. There was a vlog that I filmed a few videos ago and you saw that if you watched it. I went and got sunshine. I swam in the ocean. I felt like it really recharged me. And I struggle in this environment. I struggle being indoors. I struggle with darkness. I need the sunshine, or I feel like I can't function without the sun. So this comes in the form of who we surround ourselves with. This comes in the form of, you know, the people around us. Like, I don't know why this came to mind, but I feel like somebody needs to hear this. Say you're trying to get off drugs or you're trying to quit drinking alcohol, and you keep surrounding yourself with people that are doing that. It's not that they're bad people. And I feel like there's this sort of guilt surfaced around this for a lot of people who struggle with addiction. I don't know why I'm starting out with this, but this is just what's coming from my heart and my intuition. You know, a lot of times people feel guilty for cutting people off and no longer having them in our lives. But the thing is if you're surrounding your environment with people who, you know, if you're an addict and you're trying not to do that stuff and you're hanging out with those people, chances are you're gonna end up doing it. And you might need to take a step away from those kind of people until you get strong enough and you can hold on your own. It's kind of like people who gossip. The way that I think about it is you have a jug of water, and people who gossip, it's like pouring food coloring in there. All of a sudden the water's not going to be clear anymore, and it's going to be diluted, and it's going to cloud your judgment. The same thing goes with addiction. Another thing that I thought about is, say you're at a job and this place is sucking the life out of you, but there's this big stigma around quitting that it's a bad thing. Quitting something is not always a bad thing. Think about this for a minute. I'm talking to someone on the other side of this screen that hates their job. You're spending 8 hours of your day. That's a third of your day that you're spending in a job that sucks the life out of you. So you spend 8 hours working, 8 hours sleeping. If you actually get good rest, chances are, if you have a high stress job, you're probably struggling with some insomnia, and you're not sleeping worth a shit, so then that affects your performance as well. And it also affects your mental health, your entire well-being, and your happiness meter. Your happiness meter is going to be down here because you're doing something that you don't enjoy. I think that life is a lot different in 2024, and I'm not saying anybody's bad, but the older generation is very judgmental of people who want to quit their job, people who want to change careers. It's almost like it's a bad thing. There are people who have taken the leap of faith, and there are people out there that aren't settling for that life. And there's this sort of bravery that you have to take to step outside of that box and do something different than everybody else is doing. Say you're 30 years old and you want to become a doctor. You can go back to school. Say you want to go back to school to learn more about, I don't know, engineering or something. Go do it. It's not too late. The moment that it's too late to do something is when you're at the end of your road and you're on your deathbed, you're 80, 90, 100 years old, and then that's it. We only get a certain amount of time to do these things in life, and life is way too short to worry about the stupid snide remarks from an aunt or uncle or, you know, a friend that is jealous of you. It's way too short to listen to those voices than to go after the life that you really want and deserve. Am I saying that the road is going to be easy? No, because personally myself, I'm in this boat right now. And talking from personal experience, when you are creative, or you want to do something different and you want a different life for yourself, you're going to look absolutely ridiculous to people. And it's going to be a very lonely journey. There are going to be a lot of people, probably 90-95% of the people in your life, if not more, are not going to understand the choices you're making. They're not going to know what's going on with you. They're going to think that you're nuts until you actually get successful, and then they're going to want to get back into your life and say that they were there for the ride when in turn they really weren't. And there are a select few people, maybe one or two people, that's really all you need to keep going in life. Those people who are gonna light up your happy meter, the people who are gonna say a few kind words or say that you can do this and they truly believe in you. And you might not have anybody, but I'll tell you what, there's a hell of a lot of resources online here where you can research and you can listen to motivational speeches, and it can be very isolating and very lonely, but like I said, it's a lot better to chase after something that is in your heart than to get to the end of your road and die because you listened to the people who didn't go after their dreams. Another topic I wanted to talk on, because I know I'm talking to somebody else in this video, maybe there's several different points that I'm making that you relate to. Another thing that could be holding you back is where you live. Personally speaking, for myself, I'm just gonna call myself out here, I am not gonna flourish in this environment. I'm not gonna flourish in Minnesota. I haven't figured out where I wanna move to yet. I'm listening from the guidance of God. I'm letting things just kind of play out. It's not that I'm not taking action. I do have some plans set in place to go travel to these places. There's a few states that I want to visit to see if that's where I really want to live. But a lot of times the people, places, and things and the state that you live in will hold you back. Like, for instance, in the Midwest, I look crazy. I have colored hair, I have tattoos, piercings. I stand out like a sore thumb. And one thing that I really crave in life is being around like-minded people who are creative and they're welcoming. They're not judgmental of me. They're not trying to tell me what to do in life. They have tattoos and they're artistic or they're musically inclined or just people who really get me. And I think that in life, in order to find those people, you have to change your environment, whether it's moving, changing jobs, quitting an addiction. There's even people who struggle with pornography. There's people who struggle with that. You're gonna keep consuming that content if you keep letting it into your life. It's kind of like when you have the blinds open or shut, you know, on those things that you're addicted to, whether it's being on your phone too much, pornography, alcohol, drugs, all the bad things that keep you focused on the wrong things, that keep you away from your purpose. So, yeah. This is Withered Willie, and I set him out in the sun for the last couple of days, and he's flourishing because he's in the right environment. And unfortunately, I don't have that environment in my house in the winter time, so you might be like this plant. And the reason why you're not flourishing is because you're in the dark and the shades are shut and there's not enough sunlight to get in. I know that this video might be short. I hope that it helps somebody shed some light on the topic, but If you're watching this, it's time to change your environment and it's time to make some choices in your life that are going to benefit you for the good. And you deserve to be happy. Your heart deserves to be happy. So I hope you have a great rest of your week, and let me know down in the comments what you're going to change or what your thoughts are or where you're at in your life. I'd love to hear your story. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.